What is up, everybody? Chris, the old-ass retro gamer here. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Recent Pickups Livestream. Oh my god. This is everything that I added to my film and video game collection in April 2021. Oh my god. So, a little bit of history first. So, at the end of last month, at the end of March, I not only received my tax refund check, both of them. I also received my stimulus check, the new one. And I decided I was going to attempt to get a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X. That didn't quite work out. I spent a couple of weeks trying to find both, and it didn't happen. I always missed it. I'd log on to one of the Twitter accounts that tells you when the consoles drop, like 5 minutes after they've sold out. I didn't want to sit in front of my computer just hitting refresh constantly because I was on vacation most of the time when that was happening. I'm like, I'm not wasting my vacation. I did waste a lot of it doing exactly that. What's up, J-Chip? How's it going? And after a while, I was just like, I've spent way too much time and energy trying to get one of these damn consoles. I'm just going to wait. On top of that, Captain Algebra came to town, and the two of us went game hunting. For me, it was movie and game hunting throughout Chicago. And I can't remember exactly what he got. I'll have to wait until his pickups for April come out on his channel to see what he got. I don't remember. I remember a couple of things. On the other hand, I kind of went crazy. I went for movies. I went for games. I went for a little bit of everything. Holy crap, J-Chip signed on to be an asshat. Dig those emotes that you got now. Hells to the yeah. Thank you very much for signing on. I really appreciate it. So, because of Captain Algebra and I going out shopping, essentially, we went on a shopping spree. I have quite a lot of games and movies to show off, but I did not definitely come close to spending everything that I had when it comes to that stimulus check and that my tax refund. So over the course of the month, I was just kind of like, every time I would be like, yeah, I kind of want that, click buy. Yeah, I think I kind of want that too, click buy. Yeah, I think I've been wanting that for a while, click buy. So yeah, I kind of went a little overboard. They're going to be redesigning them. Oh, I'm glad I didn't buy one. Maybe I'll get a smaller one so it doesn't take up half of my living room because that PS5 is freaking huge. But I picked up a lot of not only movies, TV shows, UHDs, but video games for almost every kind of console that's out there. At least most of the ones that I collect for. I got at least one game for them. A couple of them are holy grails, stuff that I've been trying to add to my collection for a long time, and finally pulled the trigger on because I had a little bit of extra spending cash to do so. So you guys are in for a treat. Today is going to be kind of wild and crazy. So as usual, let's start off with the flicks. So I'm going to go in order that I did in my film collection live streams, where I start with like the DVDs, then I will go into the television shows on Blu-ray. They don't really release a lot of television shows in 4K yet, at all, maybe. I don't even think HBO does, except for maybe Game of Thrones. But anyway, the TV shows on Blu-ray, then I'll go into the standard Blu-rays, the 3D Blu-rays, and then all the UHD box sets and the UHD standalones that I got. And then we'll go into them games. So I'm going to try not to spend a whole lot of time talking about each one of these things, because like I said, I'm staring at a gigantic stack, like 4 stacks of things to talk about. This is nuts. So when it comes to the DVDs, I usually don't buy DVDs. I'm on the high-def train completely, but there are some movies that I like that aren't available on Blu-ray or 4K or whatever. The last time they were available was on DVD. So I owned this movie back in the day on DVD. I saw it in the theater opening night with a friend because it seemed kind of interesting, and it disappeared the next week. It's not very well known as far as I know, but it's called Time Code. It's by Mike Figgis, the director of Leaving Las Vegas. He got really experimental in the late 90s and early 2000s. And what this movie is 4 movies being played at the exact same time. And you see the way this kind of crosshatch thing is going on with these 4 different stills. That's the way the movie is presented. It's all a big story about a group of people that do know each other, and we get to see a day in their life. Actually, it's probably like an hour and 40 minutes of their life of that day. We get to see a chunk of their life from everyone's different perspective. So the movie stars Stellan Skarsgård, Saffron Burrows, Selma Hayek, Gene Triplehorn, Danny Houston. It's a huge amount of stars in it. I mean, people that might not have been stars then are stars now. Like Steven Weber's in it. He was like kind of the low person on the totem pole, but Stellan, it was one of the first things I ever saw Stellan Skarsgård in. I'm trying to think who else is in this. Georgia the Jungle, the love interest. I can't remember her name. Is her name on here? No, it is not. Shit. But anyway, so it's all about a movie company and the people that work there and the people that are married to or know these people. And like you get to see an affair happening from 3 different perspectives. You got Stellan Skarsgård, who's one of the heads of the company. His wife is leaving him, who's Saffron Burrows. He's having an affair with Salma Hayek, who is in a relationship with Gene Triplehorn. And at one point in time, you get to see how all of these things people are dealing with this the exact same moment on the way this screen is set up. So you get to see Stellan Skarsgård banging Salma Hayek in one frame. You get to see Saffron Burrows crying alone in a bathroom about her marriage ending in one frame. You get Salma Hayek's point of view of her banging Stellan Skarsgård, and then you get Gene Triplehorn, who has Salma Hayek bugged and is listening to her banging this guy and on the side, and you see her reacting. It is crazy. It is very soap opera like at times. Salma Hayek is really awful in this movie. Like she doesn't seem to get improvisation because the movie was basically laid out like sheet music with highs and lows, and the actors were. It was all done in one take, 4 different times at the exact same time. 4 cameras were filming, and it was all done in one take each time for each camera. And then it was all stitched together, but there are no cuts, no nothing. They filmed it with DV cameras, really low-res DV cameras, so the footage is kind of but it's really interesting. I think it's really kind of cool the way it's done. Sometimes when Figgis wants you to pay attention to one of the screens going on, he'll like lower the volumes of the others, so you'll pay more attention to one instead of the others. It's really, really cool. I like it a lot, and I don't know why I sold it since I liked it so much. It was like one of my favorite movies when it first came out on DVD. I used to watch it at least once a week because as a filmmaker, it was really interesting to me. And I would always realize that Figgis would be making me watch one of the frames, and I would never really pay attention to the others. So I would actually study all the other frames, the shots when they were trying to make you watch one to see what was going on. It's crazy. So I absolutely love it, and I had to get it back into my collection. And I watched it the day it showed up, and it's still just as nutty and crazy as it was back when I first saw it. When it comes to television shows on the Blu-ray, one of the things I picked up when I was out with Captain Algebra, we went to The Exchange, which is like a used physical media store. They sell albums on vinyl, CD, VHS tapes, video games from all consoles, movies on every format you can imagine. I found the complete Legend of Korra box set. What's up, Seth? How's it going? I have not seen this. I've seen maybe 2 episodes of this show. I really love The Last Avatar. Avatar, The Last Airbender. I really love that TV show. That cartoon is fantastic, but I never watched this, which is the follow-up. Other than 2 episodes. And I liked what I saw. I just never went back to it. But now that I own it, and it comes with like a booklet too. What is this? The Art of the Animated Series. I plan to do a marathon where I watch all of Avatar, and all of Legend of Korra back to back. So pleased about that. This just showed up 5 minutes before the stream started. And that's why it took a little while, why I was a little bit late, because I checked before I started. I was like, have any of those things I've ordered come in today? Let me check my phone real quick before I start the stream. And sure enough, 2 things showed up like 10 minutes before. They had shown up like 10 minutes before the stream started. I picked them up about 5 minutes before. About a month ago, I had ordered this big-ass box set of the entire series. Well, not the entire series. It's gone in another direction since then. But Red Dwarf, it's a British sci-fi sitcom that I have loved for decades. This has seasons 1 through 8. Every season after that, they're on season 12 right now. I think that's the one that the last one that they did are available separately, and I do have those. But I've been trying to get this box set for a while, and the only reason I didn't buy it was because this is from the UK, and normally everything is region locked if you get it from the UK. So I was like, I guess I got to get a region-free Blu-ray player or UHD player or whatever in order to watch these things. Turns out I didn't. I started doing a little bit of research because I really wanted to pick it up, and they were like, "Well, you can watch the Blu-rays with all the episodes on it just fine. They're not region locked, but there are DVDs in here that have extras on them. Those are region locked. I don't really care about the extras. I want the episodes. I want the series." So after this stream is done tonight, I'm going to put a couple of episodes on to see how they look in HD, because this was filmed in the 80s and in the 90s. And they were like filmed on like VHS tape looking footage. I remember watching these VHS tapes back in the day and they look like crap. So we'll find out how good they look when I check them out later. But that is a big ass box set. Holy crap. And to go along with that, I picked up the Blu-ray of the newest Red Dwarf, which I think it was a TV movie that they released. Like I said, they've gone through season 12. Yeah, I think the last season they did was season 12. But then they made a movie called The Promised Land, which is about, how long? 87 minutes long. So I need to definitely watch this. It's still sealed. I was waiting for that Blu-ray box set of the show to show up so I could watch everything to lead up into this. I know absolutely nothing about what the movie is. It's the 13th outing. So this is okay. So this is counting as season 13. What's up, Captain Algebra? What's up, 8-Bit Glitch? What's going on? So when it comes to regular old Blu-rays, I picked a lot of these up when I was out with Captain Algebra. Captain Algebra. That's a new one. I'm sticking with that. Captain Algebra. Picked up a copy of Knowing on Blu-ray, which is a end of the world movie with Nicolas Cage. How many of these movies or these types of movies he's done? I don't know. This is probably my favorite of them all. But it's directed by Alex Proyas, who did The Crow and I, Robot. Visually, it's amazing. There's this airplane crash scene that looks like it's done in one take, and it is fantastic. The movie itself is I think it's kind of okay, but the visual style more than makes up for it, and I love the ending. It has a very ballsy ending. So I had to pick that up. I found that for like $3 at Half Price Books. When I was out with Cap, I picked up a copy of Roadhouse. This is by Shout Select, which is Shout Factory / Scream Factory, that company that I tend to buy a lot of movies from. We just watched this for my podcast, The Movie Starting, where we record a commentary track to a movie. One of the guests requested this, and I hadn't seen it in probably 15, almost 20 years. And I was like having a blast watching it. It's so freaking stupid and cheesy and hokey that I was like laughing the whole time. And I really, when I found the copy, I was just kind of like, yeah, I think I need to add that to my collection. Just Patrick Swayze beating the crap out of people. He's a bouncer in a bar. Also picked up this double pack of Anatomy and Anatomy 2. These are German horror movies. This is Franca Potenta, who you might recognize from Born Identity and Run Lola Run, which is what I knew her from when the first movie came out, at least. Yeah, she's a med student, and students start going missing, but there's this exhibit going on at her med school where they've done it in real life too, where it's like bodies, like cadavers, have been like opened up. They look like they're freeze-dried almost, where they've been like dissected and opened up so you can see like the musculature. It's a real body that's been like preserved somehow. And the killer or killers is doing that to the students and putting them on display. And because they've been all mutilated and cut open, no one realizes that they're the students. They just think they're cadavers. So the first one is kind of cool. I liked it a lot. Franca Potente is barely in the second one. The second one is not so hot, but this is the only way I've seen Anatomy on Blu-ray, so I picked it up. I also picked up a Scream Factory release that I didn't own at Black Christmas. This is the original one. There's 2 remakes of this that are out there, and they both kind of suck. This is the original one from 1974. And it's one of the first slasher movies. It has Margot Kidder in it and Keir Dullea, who was in like 2001. What's he doing in this movie after being in 2001? Huh? But a bunch of sorority girls at a college are being stalked by somebody. And that's where the whole, like, the phone calls coming from inside the house thing came from. What's up, Lightsaber Samurai? How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Also picked up this double pack of the Butterfly Effect movies. The first one I like. The director's cut is pretty good. The ending, the original ending was stupid, I will admit. Where, if you know it, it's what's his name? Shit. Oh man, I cannot remember this guy's name. Ashton Kutcher can like jump back and forth through time, like through his own history, and like alter things. And every time he does, his future has been changed, and some good, some bad, mostly bad. There was 3 Butterfly Effect movies, Captain. Criminally underrated. Yes, the original Black Christmas I like. The other 2 are pretty awful as far as I'm concerned. I like the first one, except the original ending was Ashton Kutcher jumps back to when he's still inside his mother's womb and strangles himself with his umbilical cord so that his life doesn't affect anybody because he doesn't exist. It's stupid. Who thought that was a good idea? The second one is directed by the guy who directed Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It is god-awful. Only thing good about it is, and I'm going to sound like a sexist prick here, is Erica Durance, who played Lois Lane on Smallville, gets naked in it. That's pretty much it. The movie itself is probably 65 minutes long, and it has 20 minutes of super long, slow end credits to pad the runtime. It is a joke. I was so mad when I rented it back in the day, but I own a copy of it now, so oh, yeah! Yeah. I also picked up Pump Up the Volume. I have been a fan of this movie ever since it first came out. I absolutely love it. Christian Slater has such a crush on Samantha Mathis in this. She was in Broken Arrow and the Super Mario Brothers movie. She played Daisy. I thought she was the hottest thing on 2 legs back then. But Christian Slater is like this really shy teenager in a new town. His dad gave him like this ham radio so he could talk to his friends back east or wherever it was that he came from, but he ends up using it and disguising his voice and creates like a radio show called Happy Harry Hard-On, where he complains about the way the school that he's at now is run. It's like a horrible, horrible place to go to school. The teachers, the principal, everybody's corrupt, and it's really kind of interesting and rebellious teenager movie from the 90s, which I really, really like. And it has a great soundtrack too. Also picked up Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, a.k.a. Godzilla versus Hedorah. I don't think I've ever seen this Godzilla movie, but I found it when I was out with Captain Algebra. God, has always been the hottest thing on 2 legs. Oh, my God. Yeah, this is one of the few old Godzilla movies I don't think I've ever seen, so I need to check that out. Also picked up this 2-film collection of Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. I had Shawshank Redemption on Blu-ray, but it was in that... I showed them off in my film collection live streams where it was like in this thing that looked like a book. And it was a really odd shape, and I couldn't get it to fit on any of my shelves, so OCD, I was just kind of like, I need to find some other way to own this movie. And then I found this on Amazon for like $6. And I was like, oh, so I not only get the movie that I am looking for, but The Green Mile, which is a pretty good movie in itself. It's just really freaking long. So now I have them both in one pack. Both great movies directed by Frank Darabont. I absolutely love them. I didn't see Shawshank Redemption till like 10 years after it came out. I think it's my brother's favorite movie, and he kept trying to get me to watch it. I think the more he bugged me about it, the less I wanted to watch it. And then finally I rented it on Netflix through the disc system that they had, and I was like, oh, God, I'm a freaking idiot. What was I missing? And then Green Mile I saw in the theater, and yeah, there was not a dry eye in that house, including me. I was a little bit. Picked up This Is the End. I haven't seen this since the theater. It has a great cast. It's like James Franco, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Danny McBride, Jay Baruchel, Craig Robinson, Michael Cera, Emma Watson. Yeah, Rihanna gets tossed into a giant hole in the ground. It's like the end of the world via the rapture, and it's like all these self-obsessed Hollywood types dealing with it. I think the funniest lines in this movie come from Michael Cera. He's playing like this over-exaggerated version of himself where he's like a cokehead, and he like walks up to somebody, he has like a pile of cocaine in his hand. He walks up to somebody, goes, hey, does this cocaine smell funny? And then he blows on it and blows it into everybody's face and like runs away going, suckers. And Emma Watson gets kind of crazy in there too. I do remember that they were saying that there was like a lot of shit going on while they were making this movie, and I guess it had to do with Seth Rogen and James Franco, who sounds like they're kind of douches in real life. But I remember being pretty funny. Channing Tatum's in it, and in the end, he ends up being, what's his name? Danny McBride's bottom bitch in like leather suit with like a ball gag in his mouth and all that. It's kind of funny. Picked up National Lampoon's Vacation, the original with Chevy Chase. Absolutely love this movie, although I do prefer Christmas Vacation, and I still don't own it. But it's still a pretty funny flick. Also picked up Primal Fear, the Hard Evidence Edition. I have not seen this since it first came out on home video. But I found this at Half Price Books the other day for like $7, and I was like, sure, why not? But it's the first movie I ever remember seeing Ed Norton in, and he's pretty cool. It has a really awesome twist ending. But it's a really cool drama / thriller, like courtroom thriller. And I also picked up Lucy. I haven't seen this since I saw it in the theater. Scarlett Johansson has she's like kidnapped, and a bag of experimental drugs has been inserted into her like stomach, so she can smuggle it for these guys, these like drug runners. But it's like this experimental thing, and like she gets captured by like a rival gang, and they like kick her in the stomach and break the bag open, and like all of the drug gets like absorbed into her system, and she starts to evolve into like a super person. And it's not like really like superpowers. It's like the way we would evolve over the course of like a million years. You get to see happen to her in like 3 days. And it's interesting. It's kind of dopey at the same time, but it's by my favorite, or one of my favorite directors, Luc Besson, who directed The Fifth Element. And I love his visual style and everything he does. But yeah, this could have been a little bit better, but I think what's there is pretty cool. A lot of really awesome, kind of trippy special effects. No, I don't own Christmas Vacation. I should. As I was putting Vacation on my shelf, I was like, I don't own any other National Lampoon movies. What's wrong with me? I need to get European Vacation and regular Vacation. I actually bought some anime, people. Anime. I've always wanted to own all of the what's his name? Hayao Miyazaki movies, Studio Ghibli. Discart talked about him in, I think, the 3rd edition of the Movies That Would Make Great Video Game series. He wanted to see an entire video game just based on the Miyazaki universe, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And while I was working on the newest Movies That Would Make Great Video Games collaboration, which 8-Bit Glitch is in, Lightsaber Samurai is in it. I don't know if anyone else in the chat was in that one. I went back and watched the old ones to remember how I had edited things together and if I could do anything to improve it. And when I got to Discard's part about him talking about the Miyazaki films, I was kind of like, I keep on saying I want to buy those movies and I don't. Well, then the stimulus check showed up and I was like, it's time. So I picked up Spirited Away. I've only seen this once, but I loved it. I don't remember much about it because I don't remember when it came out, like more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Shit. So I need to watch it again. Princess Mononoke is one of my favorites, kind of like an environmental message in this one, but has a great voice cast. Claire Danes, I thought was perfect as Mononoke. My Neighbor Totoro, I've only seen this once, and that was when it first came out, like when it got re-released on video, when anime started to take off. I watched it, and I thought it was cute. I remember thinking it was cute, but I need to watch it again. But my favorite is Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. Absolutely needed to get this one. It's kind of like a sci-fi action drama. When I was a kid, I likened it to Dune because it used to be on cable all the time, but back then it was called Warriors of the Wind, and it was like really heavily edited. And I used to watch it on cable all the time, and I thought it was great. And then I found out that it got kind of cut up and dubbed really badly and all that. So when I found out that they had released like the actual Japanese version just with a new dubbing version or a new dub with Alison Lohman, Uma Thurman, Patrick frickin' Stewart, Edward James Olmos, and Shia LaDouche. I forgot he's in this. I absolutely had to have this, so I need to watch that as well again. It's probably been 10 years since I last saw it. But there's like a whole set that I knew was out there somewhere. It's like $400, and it doesn't even have all the movies in it. So I said, I'll just get them separately. So now we're going to get into the box sets that I have picked up for the Blu-rays. And this one, cover your eyes, people, if you're into sensitive things, because there's a little bit of the violence on the cover of this one. When I was out with Captain Algebra, I bought this Blu-ray. Turns out I shouldn't have bought it because there's a 4K UHD of it out there, too, that I did not realize. So I might be getting rid of this. But I picked up Lucio Fulci's Zombie. And this has a lenticular cover, so you can kind of see the splinter in front of her eye, and then blunk. This was made because when Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead by George Romero, was released overseas, it was a huge hit. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to make zombie movies. Lucio Fulci was like, I'll make one. But they billed it as, like, when Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy, it was just called Zombie. And then they made Zombie 2. So they kind of marketed this as if it was the sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which it's not. It has nothing to do with those movies. It's just another Italian cheapo zombie movie. Ultra gory. Lucio Fulci has a thing about eyeballs getting ripped up, pierced, poked out, plucked out, whatever. He's kind of crazy. He has a fetish. I think he needs help. I think he's dead, though. Sorry. Lucio Fulci, didn't mean to talk bad. But the things I remember the most about this movie is there's the eyeball thing that's on the cover here, and there's also a scene where a zombie has a fight with a real shark. Underwater. A real shark. Like a guy is having a fight with a shark. It's nutty. It's crazy. It's gory as hell. I love it. But I'm probably getting rid of it. Princess Mononoke. Ponyo was the one I had Ponyo in my cart, and I was like, I'm just going to start with 4 because there's a possibility that like things with me when it comes to like especially animated things like from like way back. Usually as an adult, when I go back and watch them, I tend to not like them. Like I don't like any of the cartoons I used to watch when I was a kid. I cannot do Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, any of that stuff. Masters of the Universe, no. Like I can't watch them anymore. They're so bad to me now. So I was like, there's a possibility that I might not like some of these Miyazaki movies because so much time has passed since I last saw them. I bought the ones that I knew I probably would like. The ones that I don't know, like Kiki's Delivery Service and Ponyo and Earthsea, was it Porco Rosso? I mean, there's some that I know I might not enjoy them anymore, even though I did back then. So, like I said, I'll start with these 4. If they still hold up in my eyes, I will go and get a couple more. Yep, that's the one with the zombie fighting the shark, and it is glorious. It is the weirdest. It's actually like the shark has a trainer. This guy owns the shark in the movie. I mean, okay, so the guy playing the zombie that's fighting the shark is the shark's trainer. He was the only person that they trusted to do the scene with the shark, and I think they drugged the shark a little bit. And it's basically the guy like grabbing the shark and trying to like flip it over and all that. The shark's just like, I don't wanna. It's not trying to bite him or anything. It's just kind of like, because I think he thinks they're playing. It's weird. But it's a crazy Italian horror movie. There's like 4 other movies in that series. None of them are good. There's a severed head that I remember they find in a refrigerator, and it flies out of the refrigerator with the power of its mind. I don't know. It just flies out of the refrigerator and bites someone's throat open. It's like, what? Italians. My people are crazy. Also picked up the Lethal Weapon full adrenaline-fueled collection. It has all 4 Lethal Weapon movies in it. Why this needed to be this big, I don't know. But I'm a huge Lethal Weapon fan. I like all 4 of them to varying degrees. I think they're all fun. When I picked this up, I watched the original. Still not my favorite. I think I like part 2 the most out of them all because that one has character development and a lot of action and a lot of comedy. It kind of has like everything. The first one is a little too serious for me, but I do like the character development and all that. 3 is kind of goofy because it feels like they were making it up as they went. I know Carrie Fisher did rewrites on it. And then part 4, I do enjoy part 4, even though everyone hates it. Everyone I know hates it. I like part 4 because they were acknowledging the fact that these guys were really old. And like Jet Li whoops their asses so hard in part 4. But yeah, I love these movies. It's a really great franchise, and I keep on hearing rumors that they're going to make a fifth and final one where they finally retire. What is Danny Glover, like 95 now? Shit. And I also picked up this Die Hard collection. It has all 5 Die Hard movies in it, and I was kind of leery about buying this because Live Free or Die Hard. I really enjoy Live Free or Die Hard. I like it more than the second one and the 5th one because the 5th one's not that great. Part 3 is still probably my favorite. Kind of goes 3, 1, 4, 2, 5. When part 3 came, when Live Free or Die Hard came out in the theaters, it was PG-13. Everybody complained. Die Hard should not be PG-13. Well, it was shot to be R-rated. It was edited in post. They censored all the cursing. They censored all the violence. I guess all the CG, the blood was originally supposed to be CGI. They were going to put it in with CGI, but since they wanted to PG-13 it up, they never put the CGI blood in. So people are getting just kind of shot and fall over with like nothing. And I liked the movie, but I was like, that doesn't quite feel like the the diehard that I know, right? Because it's all about the cursing and the violence and everything. But when it came out on home video, it came out on Blu-ray and DVD at the same time. But for some reason, the DVD version was an unrated cut, which had all the cursing put back in, all the violence put back in. But the Blu-ray wasn't. The Blu-ray was the theatrical cut. And this is the first time we've had this unrated cut available on Blu-ray and is in this set. But I did a little research when I was looking it up, and I was looking at the reviews on Amazon, and people were complaining that I guess when the set first came out, it did say that it had the unrated cut on it, but it didn't actually have the unrated cut on it. It was just the PG-13 cut, and everyone was like, it's not what I bought this for. I bought it for the high-def version of the unrated cut. So I was worried that I was going to get one of those sets. I watched it yesterday. I did not. I got the unrated cut in high-def. And yes, the unrated cut of Live Free or Die Hard is a lot better. A lot. I like it a lot. It's just the way that he does the yippee-ki-yay line at the end of Live Free or Die Hard while he's like shooting somebody through his own shoulder. It just cracks me up. I need a little drinky drink. Yeah, throat's going a little dry. Only one Blu-ray or 3D Blu-ray. I picked up Pompeii. This is by Paul Anderson, the guy who directed Resident Evil 1, 4, 5, and 6, the original Mortal Kombat, Event Horizon, Soldier, Alien vs. Predator, Death Race, Monster Hunter. He made this between, I think it was Resident Evil Afterlife and Resident Evil Retribution. And I went and saw this in the theater with my mom because my mom is originally from Italy. She was born in Rome. So all the Italy, anything that involves Italy, she's interested in. So she wanted to see this in the theater. I saw it in 3D. The 3D was pretty impressive because Anderson had just come off Resident Evil Afterlife, which I think has some of the best 3D available. So I'm really curious to see how it holds up on home video in 3D. So I picked this up for like $5 on eBay. Die Hard Trilogy, yeah, the game is really good. The second Die Hard Trilogy game is not. I do not like it. So now we're going to get into the 4Ks. Let's leave the box sets for later. So when it comes to the movies, I picked this up when I was out with Captain Algebra. I upgraded my copy of Wonder Woman Bloodlines to a 4K UHD. This is one of the animated DC Universe movies. I do believe this leads into, what is it? Justice League, Dark, what was it? Apocalypse War, which is like the finale. And I have not watched this one yet, but I had it on DVD, or I had it on Blu-ray. I got it for like $3 somewhere. I think I got it at Half Price Books for like $3, and then I ended up paying $5 for this. I'll probably get $3 for it back because I'm going to sell it. But yeah, I love the animated DC movies, so I had to pick that up. We're just talking about Luc Besson. Fifth Element. I have owned this movie on every format it's ever been on. I had it on VHS. I had it on DVD. I had like 3 versions of it on Blu-ray because they kept changing it and putting new editions out with new extras and all that. And now I own the UHD of it. And this is one of my favorite movies, probably my second favorite movie by Luc Besson. My first one is still La Femme Nikita. But yeah, this movie is so super colorful and bright and crazy and nutty and silly. Hated it when I first saw it because I thought it was going to be like Dune. The trailer made it look so serious, and then when I went and saw it, I was like, the fuck was that? I thought this was supposed to be serious. And then I saw it again, and I was like, okay, I get it. I get what you're doing. Okay, I like it. And we're talking about the Miyazaki movies. Turns out one of the ones has been released on 4K, and that is Lupin the Third, or Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro. This is the 40th anniversary collector's edition. I saw this once back in the mid-90s. I know Steven Spielberg considers this one of his favorite films. I don't remember it very much. I just remember a friend of mine put it on while I was over visiting, and I kind of half watched it and half played video games at the same time, so I wasn't really paying attention. But it is a Miyazaki movie, and I cannot wait to sit down and watch this. It looks really great. And because we had just watched the trilogy for my podcast, The Movie Starting, where we record the commentary tracks, we just watched this trilogy for our franchise series. We watched The Evil Deads, and I found Evil Dead 1 and 2 available on UHD. I don't know how these are going to look in HD. These were, well, at least the first one was filmed with like what was it, like an 8mm camera or a 16mm camera or something? It's like garbage footage. It looks like shit. So I'm curious to see what this looks like in super high def. Probably not that great. It didn't look that great on my Blu-ray that I had. But of course, Evil Dead 2 had to have Evil Dead 2. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Yeah, and watching it again for the podcast, I was just like, I absolutely love this movie. And then I was like, I could sworn I saw a UHD version of it at Best Buy. And then I looked it up on Amazon. I was like, yeah. And at Amazon, they're selling it for like $10. So I said, sure, give it to me. Paul Anderson didn't direct Fifth Element. That was Luc Besson. Yeah, French director. And then I'm ashamed of myself, but completionism is a thing. So I had a 3D Blu-ray of this, and then I was putzing around on Amazon when I got my refund check, and I found a 4K set, like the ones I used to find from Korea. I don't think this is from Korea. I think this actually came from Canada. It's a 4K UHD set that has the Blu-ray, the 3D Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, and a digital version of Wonder Woman, the OG Wonder Woman. So now I can watch it in a 4K if I want to, and 3D if I want to. This has some really great 3D in it, I must admit. I love the first Wonder Woman. I didn't really like the new one, though. Like at all. I thought it was really kind of hokey and silly and stupid and nonsensical. But when you got that extra money in your pocket, and it's kind of burning a hole in it, and you see something like this, and you're like, oh, well... okay, completionism. So I bought Wonder Woman 84, and this is another Ultra HD. You know, it's a 4K and a Blu-ray in 3D and a regular Blu-ray. I did not realize this movie was filmed in 3D. I thought that because of the whole COVID thing, they weren't going to do that. But apparently they did shoot it in or convert it in 3D at some point. So I think more than anything, I was curious as to how this looked in 3D. I'm mostly curious about how the Invisible Jet looks in 3D. Yep. But I did not like this movie at all. Yet I own it. 3 times. Okay. Now we're going to get to the box sets. Picked this one up while I was out with Cap. It's the It 2 film collection. It has It Chapter 1 and 2 on it. Really love the first one. Not big on the second one. Just the way... I think it's kind of funny that, especially in the second movie at the beginning, you find out that one of the characters has become a novelist, and people say that the endings to his books kind of suck, kind of ragging on Stephen King, that people always say that his books are great until the end. And he's just kind of like, yeah. Well, everyone complained about the ending of the book of It, and I'm complaining about the end of the movie because it's like they didn't know how to end this one either. Yeah, I love the first Wonder Woman. So, but the first It, I think, is great. It's scary as hell. I have a story about when I saw it. I don't know if I told it in the film collection stream, but my friend Jeremiah that I do the movie starting podcast with, we went and saw this opening night in a suburban theater. Usually I go see the movies in the city where I live, but we kind of met halfway because he lives not that long. He lives decently far from me, and there's a theater by my work that he can get to very easily. So we went there, we met up there and went and saw the movie the opening night, and while we were there, a fight broke out. So it's the end of the movie. The kids are standing out in front of the big house that Pennywise has been hiding in, and they're like arguing, should we go in? Do we go in? Do we not go in? What are we going to do? And then when Finn Wolfhard like has that bottle in his hand, he breaks and he goes, fuck it, we're going in. A fight broke out. It was perfectly timed. It started about 2 minutes before that. I want to say like 2 minutes before that, we heard people arguing in the audience, like 3 or 4 rows up. Like one person go, you shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. No, you shut the fuck up. And then it got quiet. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the theater, like when Finn Wolfhard breaks that bottle, all of a sudden, everyone in the theater kind of stands up, takes their phones out. The whole room lights up because everyone turned their light on their flashlight on their camera on. And they're like filming it. What happened was someone was talking in the theater. The people sitting in front of the people who were talking turned around, told them to shut up. They started arguing, and I guess over that 2 minutes of silence, they were like making fun of each other back and forth, like you should like doing it under their breath. And then the men, it was 2 couples. It was a man and a woman that were doing the fight. The 2 men decided to just say screw it, and they just started beating the hell out of each other in the theater. And we're just kind of like, okay, finale of the movie, everybody. Can we watch this, please? So like the fight lasts for like 3 or 4 minutes. Security shows up, drags these guys out. They're still fighting as they're being dragged out. So we've missed like 3 or 4 minutes of the film. And Jeremiah looks at me and he's like, if we leave right now, we can get our money back. And I kind of like look at the movie. I'm like, we've come too far. Let's just finish it. And we're like, okay, fine. But yeah, story time's over. Also picked up this 4K set of the Mummy trilogy. The ones with Brendan Fraser in it, not the one with Tom Cruise. Tom Hanks would never be in a Mummy movie to save his life. He likes Oscars. The Mummy Returns, and Mummy: Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I like the first two. The third one, hell to the no. Nope, all the nope. The first two I think are pretty fun. The first one especially. The first one was way better than it had any business being as far as I was concerned. When I saw it in the theater, it was like opening a week or two before episode 1, Phantom Menace. And I didn't have any expectations for it. And when my brother and I walked out of the theater, we're like, that was kind of amazing. Like, I did not expect that to be that fun. I thought it was just going to be like a cheapy CGI-filled horror movie. And it was like watching Indiana Jones with a horror theme. And it was really fun. And the sequel is just kind of like that amped up to the nth degree, and really bad CGI. The Rock shows up at the end and it's kind of hokey. The third one is just poop. Like, even Rachel Weisz didn't want to show up for that one because she read that script and she said, eh. When I was out with Cap, I picked up the Lord of the Rings motion picture trilogy. The reason I was putting off buying this for so long was I was not sure if they had the extended versions of the movies on them. And it does. And the cool thing is you not only get the theatrical cuts, but you also get the extended cuts. And holy crap, are these movies long. I hated the Tom Cruise one. That's one of the few movies I almost walked out on. I thought that was so bad. But yeah, I love these films. I was not a big fan of The Two Towers for the longest time. For some reason, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I felt like I was missing information when I was watching it. I'm like, where do these giant dog things that the orcs are riding come from? Where do the dragon things come? What is going on? Like, why? What? Like, I don't understand. Like, the first movie I thought was great. And I watched the second one. I was like, okay. And then I saw the third movie. It's like, that was awesome. But it has 52 endings, but whatever. And then I went back and rewatched them in a row. And I was like, oh, okay. I think having the movies spaced a year apart kind of like threw me for a little bit of a loop because I didn't watch Fellowship before I went and saw Two Towers. So seeing them back to back to back kind of helps. But cannot wait to see these in 4K. They're going to look awesome. Yep. Has both versions on it. And the thing that gets me is I had the Blu-ray set of the extended editions, and the set was almost 3 times the width of this box. Space saver. Also, I had the regular Blu-ray, the regular HD version of this set, but I ended up buying this when I was out with Captain Algebra, and it is the Bad Boys 1 and 2 box set in 4K. And it's designed very strangely. It looks kind of cool. I like the sideways art on both sides. But the movies come out of the bottom. That's dumb. That's freaking stupid. Both Bad Boys movies. I like them both. I like all 3. The third one is my favorite. But I have that in 4K, and I wanted these in 4K to go along with it. But the first one is... I told everybody, like my friends... A couple of my friends don't really go and see a lot of like the dumb action movies. I do. And when part 3 came out, they're like, is it worth watching? And I was like, well, I've only considered the first 2 movies kind of like just dumb popcorn movies. There's nothing to them. It's just watch a lot of things blow up. A lot of jokes get thrown around. And there's a lot of women's booties being thrown in the screen on the camera. There's not much to it. Third one actually feels like a real movie. The new Bad Boys is great. It's my favorite of the 3. I highly recommend it. It's actually a real movie and not just a music video with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence running around with a gun. But it's great. And the last box set and the last movie that I have to talk about tonight, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are thrilled that I'm ending that part of it. You just want to see the games. I picked up the 4K Back to the Future box set, the 35th anniversary limited edition trilogy. These all come with steel books. I love the trilogy. I think the second movie is probably my favorite because I like the first one. The first one is great. Don't get me wrong. It is super, super fun. I like where the second one went, where it was like them backtracking and all the paradox stuff going on. I thought they took that idea from the first movie and like took it to the next logical level, where it's like, these are the dangers of what you guys were doing in the first movie. These are the things that can happen if you fuck it up. What's up, Dean Bragg? How's it going? Third movie I'm not a real big fan of because I hate Westerns. Don't get me wrong, I like it. It's fun. It's just after watching part 2 and how kind of batshit crazy it gets, the third one kind of feels like a step back, and it's just kind of like, oh, we're just going to take this one easy. But I do like the whole trilogy as a whole. The whole trilogy. Should not repeat myself like that. But yeah, it's great. I just got that at my local Target for like $50. So I'm thrilled. So now we're going to move on to the video games. And like I said, I got a lot for a lot of different consoles. You guys ready for this? Because it's going to be crazy. Okay, so starting off with the Master System, my friend Toy Source Games does reproductions, and he sells them on Instagram. Really, if you are into Genesis games and Master System and stuff like that, go to Toy Source Game Sales, I think it is, or just Toy Source Games. I'll have to look it up. Shit, I can't remember his name or what he goes by. If I only had my phone with me, which I don't, it's in the other room because I'm a dumbass. He did a whole bunch of Bruce Lee themed things. He released a version of, what was it? Streets of Rage 2 with Bruce Lee in it from Game of Death. And I was considering that, but I already have a couple of those like hacks of Streets of Rage 3 that Bruce Lee was put into. I already have a bunch of those like Streets of Rage hacks. So I was like, yeah, I can pass on that. But I wasn't going to pass on this. He did a reproduction of Bruce Lee on the Sega Master System. And Bruce Lee was an old computer game that I used to play on my dad's Atari 800 XL. It's like a platformer with some beat-em-up aspects to it. You're Bruce Lee. You have to collect these candles, or I can't remember what they were, like lanterns or something. You can kind of see it here, but it's more like a platformer than a beat-em-up. It says, in the fortress of the evil wizard, 2 fearsome enemies await. Ninja Cage, or Kage, a skillful assassin, and the massive green Yamo, who looks like a Buddha, who can deliver bone-crunching blows. Only you possess the strength and ability to conquer these enemies and survive. I remember it being a lot of fun. And I haven't played it since I was a little kid. I haven't played this probably since 1982. And when I saw what it was, and I was like, is that a port of the Commodore 64/Atari 800 game when I saw it on Instagram? He's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, I want it right now. And the cool thing about it is it comes on a yellow labeled cart, just like his outfit in Game of Death. And it actually has a manual. Whoa, no cartridge, no! It's okay. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. But yeah, I cannot wait to play this. And I do believe this did get released on the Master System in Japan. Or at least in the UK, maybe Brazil. I don't know, because the app that I have on my phone to catalog my games so I know what I have so I don't buy doubles had this listed as a Master System game. So it came out somewhere, and I guess it just got translated or whatnot, or just ported over. I don't know. I've never seen it before. I didn't know it existed on anything other than those old computers in the early 80s. So, oh, I've had that for the longest time. Whoop. Anyway, now for some NES games. I picked these up while I was out with Captain Algebra. Not the greatest games, but I've been wanting them in my collection because nostalgia. So I picked up Street Fighter 2010, The Final Fight. I don't think Street Fighter was a thing yet. I think maybe the first one was, but Street Fighter 2 Madness hadn't taken off yet. And I think this is loosely connected to it in some way because you're playing as Ken, but it's more like a platformer than anything. And it's super freaking hard. Holy crap. I remember even as a kid, it would frustrate the hell out of me. Even watching the Angry Video Game Nerd beat this, and that one video made me anxious because the memories came flooding back as to how hard this was. But I played this all the time, even though I sucked at it, and I kind of wanted it back in my collection. And I got this pretty cheap, I remember. I think I got it for like $30 or something. We went to that store, Video Games Then and Now, that's by me. And they had it there. And they also had Spider-Man Return of the Sinister 6 for the NES. Yes, it's an LJN joint, and the game is not very good. I do believe my brother rented this when we were kids, and we loved the music. We thought the music was great. The controls were kind of craptastic. But my brother is a huge Marvel fan. I was not really big in Marvel back then, but my brother was, and he absolutely loved this one. And then he ended up playing it more than me, but I played it a little bit. We never actually owned it, though, but my brother rented it a couple times. And I know it's not that great, but I wanted it because of the memories and plus LJN. So the other thing I got from Toys R Us Games when I bought Bruce Lee is a repro of Eliminate Down, which is a Genesis game or a Mega Drive game that came out of Japan. It's a shmup, a vertically scrolling shmup that I hear people I hear people talking about it being really, really good. You can kind of see it looks kind of nutty. So when I saw that he was putting it up for sale, I was like, can I get one of those while you're at it, making me that Bruce Lee thing? Can I get one of those too? He's like, yeah, sure. And I only got this for, I think, $40. So I bought a bunch of like Japanese exclusive shmups, repros from Toys R Us, and I've liked every single one of them. So I can't wait to try this one out. I haven't had a chance to play it. Yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3 is pretty good. I like the second one more, though. But then these two Super Nintendo games, like I was hoping when I went out with Captain Algebra, I'd find some Super Nintendo games, and I found nothing. Absolutely nothing. But deals are still able to be found on the internet if you really look for them. So I ended up finding a copy of, and I was really looking for this. I've been looking for this for so long, and for some reason it was so freaking expensive that I was not willing to pay for. I'm like, this game is not worth $80 at all, ever. It's okay. It's decent. It's not a great license. Like, that's another thing I want to talk about. This is the month of licensed games, people. I'm warning you. I got a lot of licensed games. Yeah, as a licensed game, it's not the greatest. It's fun. I like it. It's just not the best. Stargate. I rented this one back in the day, and I enjoyed it. It's hard. It's a side-scrolling run-and-gun, and there's some platforming, too. There's also a time where you can pilot one of the ships. I don't remember what they were called. They had a name for them on the TV show on SG-1. But the things that look like Falcons, you get to pilot those around in like this Super Mario, or what is it called? Super Star Wars, like when you're in the land speeder in Super Star Wars, you know, the Mode 7 version where you're like behind the ship and it's scrolling towards you. It's just like that. You can kind of see it here. But yeah, it's a side-scrolling platformer where you play as Kurt Russell and you're just shooting all the Horaces and I can't remember the names of the other guys. But I remember it being okay. But I've wanted it back in my collection because I had this for the Genesis, and the Genesis version just was not doing it for me because the music sucked. The controls weren't the greatest. I remember it being way better on the Super Nintendo, so I got rid of it, and I've been trying to get the Super Nintendo version for the longest time, and I just could not find one for a good price until about 4 weeks ago. And I found one on eBay going for a decent price, so I picked it up. Contra is awesome, too. I love that one. But the one I've been really trying to get a hold of forever, I'm talking last couple of years, I think I gave my Genesis version to Jason from Corpse Flood Gaming because I got the Genesis version for free in a box of games that one of my brother's friends gave me. But I had the Super Nintendo one back in the day, and that's the one I really wanted, and that is True Lies. This game is so freaking expensive now, I don't understand it. Nobody gave a rat's ass about this game. I don't think anybody really gives a rat's ass about it now. But I've always said that this was probably one of the better licensed games I played back in the day. This is the one that I would be going to tell my friends, hey, you want to play a good game? Go rent that True Lies game. It's awesome. And people are like, I've played Terminator 2. That game was so bad. I'm like, this isn't Terminator 2. This is nowhere near Terminator 2. This is 150 times better than Terminator 2 was on the Super Nintendo. Try this one out, and nobody ever would. But I loved it. It's a top-down Legend of Zelda type shooter. It's like the same perspective as the Legend of Zelda game, looking down on the characters. It's a lot of fun, and it follows the movie pretty well too. And it's kind of amazing. I like it a lot. It does get really, really hard toward the end, though. I used to have Kid Icarus for the Game Boy back in the day, but I ended up selling it for some reason because I'm a dumbass. So one of the things I picked up at video games then and now. I didn't get this when I was out with Captain Algebra. They had it while we went there. When we were there, they had it. I was like, I'll wait. But I went back because when I bought those 2 NES games, the owner was like, well, if you guys like NES games, come back in a week. I got some really good ones in the back that I haven't put out yet. One of them might be Little Samson. And we both went like, sure. And even if he did have it, I'm like, I won't be buying that anyway. No, I'm not paying $1,300 for a freaking game. So I went back to see what games he was talking about, and he didn't put anything out. And I was kind of pissed, except he wasn't there that day, so I couldn't yell at him and be like, hey, you told me to come back in a week. I'm here. Where's the games? Dick. But I was like, while I'm here, I might as well buy that other game I was looking at, and that is The Adventures of Willie Beamish on the Sega CD. I had this back in the day. This was, I think, one of the first Sega CD games I bought, and I got it at a Funkoland. It's a graphical adventure. It's kind of like playing a LucasArts game. You don't really control Willie Beamish, if I remember correctly. You click around on the screen and get him to look at things and all that, and there's like, not quick time events, but there's like little things like Dragon's Lair, I guess, if I remember correctly. It's not like playing Time Gal. It's been forever since I've played this. But I remember like your frog, you're missing, you're like lose your frog or something, and then you go on an adventure to find him. I can't remember. It's been so long. I haven't played this probably since 1994. True Lies is awesome. And get the Super Nintendo version. The Genesis one is not nearly as good as the Super Nintendo one. I need to play this again. But that was one of my favorite Sega CD games. Oh, not one of my favorites. I didn't play it as much as like Rise of the Dragon or something like that. Yeah, those Game Boy Mega Mans are freaking expensive, dude. So I get clogged when I talk too much. I don't get it. I noticed I watched a couple of my old streams just for shits and giggles, and I noticed I'm always going. When I talk, I get clogged. I don't get it. When I bought Stargate for the Super Nintendo, it reminded me that there was handheld versions of the game too. The only thing is, I never really looked up what the handhelds were, so I was like, I know it came out for the Game Boy and the Game Gear. Are they friggin' platformer running guns too? I look it up and, oh no, they're not. They are completely different. They are nothing like the Super Nintendo and Genesis versions. So I just so happened to find a really cheap boxed copy of the Game Gear one that is still sealed of Stargate. And what kind of a game is it? It's a puzzle game, like playing Weltris. You have like this well here. Here. And tiles with hieroglyphics are falling into it. And you have to arrange them in stacks of 3. And at the same time, your opponent is doing the same thing. You have this like map here that has like quadrants. It's like the Stargate addresses, but it's like quadrants of space. And you have to occupy them by beating whoever is occupying that one in the puzzle version. And if all of those sectors get taken up, once they're all filled with, who owns each one, whoever has the most wins the game and beats the game. I watched a little bit of it on YouTube, and I was like, that is nuts. Who thought that someone would want to play that on a home, like a to-go console? Like, you see Stargate and you think action movie, science fiction, things exploding. I want to drop tiles into a well. But anyway, I don't care. I had to have this because licensed games, and I love my licensed games. And it's just so freaking weird that that's the idea they came up with for their handheld version that I had to own it. So now we're getting into Game Boy Color, which is a console I don't like very much. But like I said, I had a little bit of extra cash. And I'm like, I'm kind of on this licensed movie kick or licensed game kick because of the Stargate and the True Lies and all that shit. So, and stuff that's coming up too. What games are out there for the Game Boy Color? So I was looking for Batman, the animated series game, and a couple of others, and they're way too expensive. I was looking for Blade on the Game Boy Color, which is beyond expensive. I was like, what? Little Nicky on the Game Boy Color was a game that I remember back in the day. I was bidding on one. When it started the auction, it was $9. And it was like, it had like 5 days to go. No one had bid on it. And then like 20 minutes before the auction was going to end, I was like, I'll put a bid on it now. And it was up to like 11. So I bid 20 and I was immediately outbid. And I was like, what is the most amount of money I'm willing to put on this thing? So I bid 40 and I was immediately outbid. And I was like, psh. Someone has put a lot of money on, as their max bid. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get sucked into that trap. So I was like, I'm done. 40 bucks is as much as I was willing to pay for Little Nicky. So I put the phone down, and then like 20 minutes later, my phone goes, the auction has ended. You missed out. Sorry. So I'm like, I am kind of curious. What did it go for? $174. What? For Little Nicky? Eat it. No. So what did I get? I was talking about the Mummy box set that I got. I picked up the Mummy on the Game Boy Color and the Mummy Returns. These are side-scrolling platformers with beat-em-up aspects. I think the first one is more of an exploratory one. I've never played these. But the first one is more of an exploratory action game. And the second one looks like it's a little bit more zoomed in, and there's like beat-em-up and sword fight and stuff kind of going on. And I was like, why are these going for so cheap? Well, I didn't realize it, but the box to this Mummy one is kind of jacked up. You can kind of see where it's torn. And I was like, I don't care. The box, it has the box. I don't give a crap. Whatever. I now am on a quest to get all the Mummy things. Because OCD. There is a Mummy animated TV show game for the Game Boy Color. I think there's one for the original Game Boy. I have the one for... I have the other games. I have Mummy on the PlayStation 1. I have Mummy 2 and 3 for the PS2. I have the Scorpion King for the PlayStation 2. I have Scorpion King for the Game Boy Advance. I think there's a Game Boy Advance Mummy game also. But anyway, and then when I saw this, I was like, oh God, I think I need that one too, because why were there no games based on this movie other than this one? And I did not even know this one existed, but we're talking The Mask of Zorro, the Antonio Banderas movie. What? And it's by Sunsoft. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. You kind of figured it had to be. Sword fighting stuff. I had to have it. I now own a video game that has Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Anthony Hopkins on the cover. I can die happy. Yep. And then I found a Game Boy Advance game the day before Captain Algebra came to visit. I was out with some friends. We went to go see King Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong at the theater. We hit up a Half Price Books, and I randomly found The Simpsons Road Rage. And I'm not a real big Simpsons fan, like, at all. I haven't watched Simpsons probably since the 90s. But I remember there's an episode of Stop Skeletons from Fighting where Derek was talking about how impressive this game is because it's basically the console version of this game on the Game Boy Advance. It's Mode 7 type stuff all over the place, and it plays extremely well. So I was like, that's kind of cool. I think I need that in my life. So this one I do believe is the one that's like playing Crazy Taxi. I do believe so. Yep, you have to make money. This is the one where you're playing, it's like Crazy Taxi, where you're picking up passengers and taking them to their destinations, kind of like, yeah, Crazy Taxi. I've said Crazy Taxi 3 times in like a minute. I used to have Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge back in the day for the Game Boy, but I got rid of it because I'm stupid. And I wish I still had it. I had Castlevania Legends back in the day too, but I sold it because I'm stupid. So when I was out with Captain Algebra, I went kind of crazy for the PlayStation 1 games and another console you're about to see. We hit up this store in the city. It's not in the city. It's in Berwyn. It's called Play It Retro. And the thing that sucks about the store, I mean, don't get me wrong. They are loaded, absolutely loaded to the gills with retro stuff, like boxed, millions, like we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of like cartridges. Every console you can imagine, they've got it. Their prices are kind of crazy. Their prices are kind of, because of COVID, they're going by eBay prices right now just to make a buck. And they're only taking cash, which kind of sucks. And that's, I think, why Captain Algebra didn't buy anything while we were there, because he's like, I don't carry cash. I'm not going to go get cash. I'm not going to get sucked into that trap, too. I got sucked into that trap. I ended up buying, while I was there, Bushido Blade and Bushido Blade 2 for the PS1. I had both of these back in the day. Sword fighting, it's a fight game. It's a one-on-one fighting game, but everybody has a sword or weapon, and it's a one-hit kill. You can possibly just walk up to somebody and go, boop, and they're dead. You hit them in the head, you hit them in a vital area, boop, they're dead. But you can maim people. You can go for the legs. You can go for the arms and make their arm dead. And now they kind of suck at doing the sword fight. You can taunt people. You can do whatever you want. It is nuts. Super fun, though. Love them. Love them. Love them. I also picked up Mobile Light Force, which is actually Castle Shikigami, the original Castle Shikigami. But for some reason, what is this, Excess Games or whatever, didn't think that a game called Castle Shikigami would sell. But all the other games in the series are over here named Castle Shikigami because I have them. So they renamed it Mobile Light Force and put the frickin' Charlie's Angels on the cover for some reason. It's a vertically scrolling arcade shmup. And it's a really fun one at that. Stupid cover art, though. And then they released Castle Shikigami 2 on the PlayStation 2 with this exact same cover art. And then they released Castle Shikigami 2 as Castle Shikigami 2 on the PlayStation 2. So there's two versions of the same game out there with different names. I don't get it. Whatever. Captain Algebra lives in Wisconsin. I live in Illinois. So we're a state apart, but I think it's like a good hour and a half away if you were to drive. Also picked up Wild 9. I had this back in the day. It's a sort of like a platforming beat 'em up, but the thing is you have this energy whip that you can latch on. You can grab enemies with it, and then you bang them around to kill them and get points. It is super fun, and it is crazy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like One. One's one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games. But I remember I had this back in the day, and I absolutely loved it. Didn't get very far in it because something else came along and took my attention away. But I've been trying to get this back for the longest time. It's not an expensive game. I just keep saying I'd rather have this other thing because that game is cheap. I can get it whenever I want, and I keep on doing that, and it's been probably 4 years. So I figured it was about time. So I picked it up, and it's kind of fun. I also picked up Syndicate Wars, which is the sequel to Syndicate. It is a strategy action game, cyberpunk. It's by Peter Molyneux from Bullfrog. You know, Peter Molyneux, the guy that did Fable and all that. Everyone hates him because he's an out-and-out liar when it comes to the games he makes and what they can do, and they never end up doing anything he says that they can do. But back in the day, he was known for making some pretty innovative games, and the original Syndicate is pretty awesome, and I did not realize that there was a sequel out there until I saw it at Play It Retro, and I was like, I need it in my life. All right, thanks for stopping by, Dean. Have a great night. Stay safe. And the thing I picked up that I was the most happy that I finally have it in my collection is Tobal number 1. This was from that point in time when Squaresoft was like branching out and trying to do different things. We don't want to just be known for doing RPGs. We're going to put out a shmup. We're going to put out a couple of beat-em-ups. We're going to put out a fighting game. So I not only did I pick up their other fighting games, Bushido Blade 1 and 2, but I picked up Tobal number 1. This one actually had an arcade cabinet, I remember. And I played it. And the thing that everyone remembers about this is you can play as Cloud from Final Fantasy VII in it. I don't remember it being a great fighting game, but it was like decent. But I had it back in the day. I had fun with it. I kind of wanted it back in my collection. Again, I want to get all those weird Squaresoft games like that. Brave Fencer Musashi. Finally got the 2 Bushido Blades. I got Einhander. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Parasite Eve 1 and 2. You know, that kind of thing. And the last PlayStation 1 game I found is Konami Arcade Classics. I found this the week after I hung out with Captain Algebra at the Exchange. I guess between when we went there and when I went back, they put out some new stuff. And they had this Arcade Classics compilation. It's basically just a bunch of old arcade games by Konami like Puyin, Circus Charlie, Shaolin's Road, Rock and Rope, Yi Are Kung Fu, which I did have a lot of fun with back in the day. Scramble, I know that one. Road Fighter, I don't. Super Cobra, I remember. Gyrus, yes. And Time Pilot, yes. A lot of the other ones I'm like, huh? But it normally goes for quite a bit of money, and they had it pretty cheap there. I got this for like $25, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. So I remember seeing that for like 50, 60 in some places. Only have one PlayStation 2 game to show off, and that is Savage Skies. This looks like a cheap ripoff of Panzer Dragoon. I got this at Video Games Then and Now while I was there with Captain Algebra. I mean, even if you look at it, it looks like Panzer Dragoon. Light. It's a dragon game. You're sitting on the back of a dragon, shooting other dragons out of the sky and stuff like that. And I paid $7.99 for it. So, yeah. Had to have it. I love Dragon flight sim type games. I love Panzer Dragoon. So when I saw that it was like that, I was like, yeah, for $7.99, I'll buy it. I also picked up while I was out with Cap Mystic Heroes for the GameCube. Didn't even know that this was a thing. I did not know what this game was. When I saw it on the shelf at the exchange, I was like, can I take a look at that real quick? And I take a look at the back, and I'm like, oh, it's a Dynasty Warriors game for the GameCube, but it's not really a Dynasty Warriors game. This one's a little more fantasy, and there's like boss battles. And you can do 4-player simultaneous fighting. So yeah, it's Dynasty Warriors. It's a Musu or Musou game or whatever you call it, but there's like big monster things that you fight. And I like those games, so I said I need it. And I picked it up. And I tried it because I had my GameCube hooked up because of the backlog roulette game that I had for the Super Enabler Brothers pod. Excuse me, I just burped. Pardon me. The game that I had to play for my backlog roulette for the Super Enabler Brothers podcast that I was on, the episode that was live at the time, I had to play Geist on the GameCube. So I had my GameCube out hooked up through HD, and I was like, I'll try this while I have it out. And it's actually pretty fun. I picked up a couple of not so great Xbox games, OG Xbox games. I picked up Warpath, and I think Musty Hobbit did a Xboxer briefs about this one, I think. And it's like a third-person shooter. It's trying to be like Halo, but it's third-person. It looks cool, but from what I understand, it doesn't play very well. But the real shit-tastic one is, licensed games. I had to get Aquaman. I know this game is supposedly garbage, but I figured at least it's going to be garbage in HD on the Xbox, so why not? But it's like a third-person game where you're swimming around as Aquaman, and I hear the controls are absolute dog crap. But it was super cheap at half-price books, so I picked it up. Why not? The other console that I kind of went nutty for this whole month was the PSP. I haven't bought any PSP games, or at least any. I bought every once in a while. I'd find one, or someone would tell me about one in a video, or I know Nintendo got me to buy Platypus, which ended up being pretty awesome. But I really haven't been on the lookout for PSP games because the only place I used to get PSP games on the regs was this store called Disc Replay that was by my work. And they closed a few years back. And every time I would go there, they would have brand new stock of PSP games to sell. And it was always good stuff, and it was dirt cheap. And I don't really think to look for them very often. So when I was out Captain Algebra, I found some shit. So I picked up Warhammer Battle for at Luma, and I made the mistake of not looking at the back of this. I saw Warhammer, and I've been trying to get all the Warhammer games because they're all over the frickin' place, and I unintentionally was buying all of them, and I was like, I might as well go for the whole set. I didn't look at the back of it. I was just kind of like, Warhammer game, give it to me. It's $3. It's a card fighting game. It's like playing Magic the Gathering. I made a mistake, but whatever. It's another Warhammer game. I picked up Steel Horizons, which is like playing Battleship. It's kind of like a strategy game that involves all seacraft and submarines and battleships and, destroyers and that kind of stuff. And I took a look at the back of this one to see what it was, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks kind of awesome. I like that. It looks kind of like Field Commander on the sea. And Field Commander is one of my favorite PSP games. I also picked up Dungeon Siege, Throne of Agony. I love Dungeon Siege. I love Dungeon Crawler, like action RPGs, and that's exactly what this is. It is a dungeon crawly RPG, and I absolutely love Diablo and that kind of stuff. So to have one on the PSP, hills to the yeah. I also picked up Soul Calibur Broken Destiny. I did not know there was a Soul Calibur game on the frickin' PSP. I love Soul Calibur. I love it so much. I haven't tried it yet, but I was like, is this going to be like that Guilty Gear game that I have for the PSP, where instead of it being a fighting game, it does have a fighting game portion to it, but it's more of a beat 'em up as a side game. No, it's a one-on-one fighting game, but you can play as Kratos. Had to have it. What's up, Tony? Welcome, welcome. I also picked up Lord of the Rings Tactics. I love a good tactics game, especially when it's a license that I'm a big fan of. So yeah, I have Dungeons and Dragons Tactics. I have R-Type Tactics. I have Stargate, or was it Star Fox Tactics? I have all that shit. I love them. I love them. So yeah, had to get that one. That was like $3. I also picked up the Gradius collection. This I picked up when I went back to the exchange the week after I hung out with Captain Algebra. They did not have this out the first time, otherwise I would have bought it. So this has Gradius 1, 2, 3, 4, and Gradius Gaiden on it. And I was not a big fan of the Gradius games back in the day, but I am now. And to have all 5 awesome games on one collection, I can't talk. I'm starting to get tired. I absolutely had to have it. And shmups. I don't have very many shmups on the PSP anyway, so that's awesome that I got 5 of them in one. What's up, Media Glitch? How's it going, everybody? Everyone that's in the chat. I haven't really looked at the chat in a while. What else did I get? I picked up Miami Vice. I don't remember the reviews of this being very good back in the day when it first came out, but it is an over-the-shoulder shooter. This is based on the Michael Mann movie that came out in the mid-2000s, I think. And I have not seen it since the theater because I was not very big on it. But honestly, you look at the back of it, and it looks pretty cool. I like the visual style of it. And there's even boat racing because Miami Vice. Everyone has to drink. Yup, you're right. Did not realize there was a Tekken game available for the PSP either, so I picked up Tekken Dark Resurrection. I haven't tried it yet. I actually just got this 3 days ago at Half Price Books. And the characters are nice and large. So, I can't wait to try that one out. I'm not really that much of a big Tekken fan, but I'm willing to give it a shot because my tastes have changed. I probably haven't played a Tekken game in years, so why not? Ugh, I'm slipping. And the one that I wanted to save for last when it comes to the PSP games, I did not know what the hell this was. They had it in the book. They had it in their case at the exchange. And when I was there with Captain Algebra, I told the woman that I wanted it. That was like, they have all their games in cases. Like, you can't touch anything. They have to open up the case and take the games out for you, and they take them up to the register and keep them up there while you're still shopping. So I told her I wanted it. She took it out. I guess she thought that I didn't want it, so she put it back, and I had to go back and get it like a week later. Luckily, they still had it. And the name is why I wanted it. I don't even know what the hell kind of a game it is, but the name is What Did I Do to Deserve This, My Lord, Part 2. What? Even every time, like the woman that took it out of the case the first time I was there was like, "What? Okay, like that's a name." And then when I went back and got it, the dude who was helping me out was just kind of like, "I would buy it just for the name." I'm like, "Why do you think I'm buying it?" The Dark Resurrection is good. Yeah, it looks awesome. Like graphically, it looks amazing. So I can't wait. So what I can understand, if I understand this correctly, this is kind of like a underground puzzle game. Like you have lands that you go to. It says, "Wrong live the Overlord." What? Okay. "My Lord, God of Destruction, with our highly upgraded ominousness, let's bash those impertinent human heroes like never before." And it has part 1 on here as an extra. It just says, "Retro yet avant-garde, simple yet deep, weird yet hilarious. This game makes its triumphant return." I didn't know that it was a way to begin with. I don't know. But it looks kind of like a puzzle game. Like Dig Dug. Whatever. I had to have it for the name. So now I have a talking point. Someone comes over and is looking over my PSP collection. "What is this? What did I do to deserve this, My Lord 2 game all about?" Well, let me tell you something. A story about when I had to go pick this up. Got a couple of Xbox 360 games while I was out with Captain Algebra at Video Games Then and Now. Ain't nothing special. I just picked up Time Shift, which is I do believe a first-person shooter. I think. Yes, but it has time features where you can slow, stop, and reverse the flow of time to destroy your enemies. Whatever. I remember hearing about it back in the day. I don't remember much about it, but I also picked up the original Call of Juarez. I have the second one for the 360, and when they had it, when I saw it at I keep wanting to say People Play Games. That's the store that closed by me. Video Games Then and Now. When I saw this there, I was just kind of like, yeah, might as well to complete the set. The only problem was it didn't have a manual, but I can probably find one pretty cheap somewhere. But I do believe this is another first-person shooter, or is it a third-person shooter? I don't remember. See, I was waiting to get this one so I could play through the series. You just sold your whole PSP collection? I'm starting to get back into collecting for it, man. So, PlayStation 3 was also a console that I had a little bit of a run on. Let's see here. I picked up Def Jam Icon. I had this for the 360 back when it originally came out. I absolutely loved Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Battle for New York. Did not think I would like a wrestling game featuring rappers, but they were like totally addictive, and I just could not stop playing them. And like the day that Battle for New York came out, I like ran out and picked it up, and I played that thing for a month. Like I was unlocking everything. And then I remember somebody's texting me. Shit. When Icon came out, I was like, yes. And I went out and bought it on day one also. And I was like, what is this? This isn't the same thing I thought it was. This is more of like a one-on-one fighting game, if I remember right. And I didn't really like it, so I got rid of it. But now I kind of want to try it again because I remember nothing about it. I just remember that I played it for one day and then I got rid of it because I was disappointed that it wasn't more of the same. Here's also not the greatest thing ever, but, you know, I don't care. I want to try it again. Found this pretty cheap. I want to say I got it for like $7. Since I now have, well, I have the Move controllers for my PlayStation 4 so I can do my VR. I was told that you can use the ones that you have for your PlayStation 4 on your PlayStation 3 for all the Move-enabled games. So I tried it out, and yes, they work. I just had to buy one of the PlayStation 3 cameras and one of the movement controllers so I could, you know, play them now. And I was playing House of the Dead Overkill on it, and it's awesome. So now I've been trying to get all these Move games that I wasn't considering before because I didn't have the controllers, but now that I know I can use the ones I already have, I'm talking too goddamn much. Let's get to the games. I picked up Brunswick Pro Bowling. I bought a bowling game, but since I really like Wii bowling or Wii Sports bowling on the Wii, and that uses motion controls, I figured this could be pretty fun too. So why not get a bowling game and try it out? I got this for a whopping $2, so I didn't really care. If it's garbage, I could live with $2. I also picked up, this was brand new when I bought it. I don't know, okay. But Heavy Fire Afghanistan. So this is a first-person shooter that you can use the Move controllers with. Sure. I have the big gun thing for the Move controller for the PlayStation 3, so that'll come in handy. House of the Dead Overkill. Yeah, it's awesome. I want to go back to the womb. I was actually, honestly, Tony, I was looking for a fishing game just for shits and giggles with the Move controllers on the PlayStation 3. I seriously was. Didn't find any, though. I also bought the Killzone trilogy that is Move enabled. I had 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 3 separately, but when I found that you can play 1, 2, and 3, and they're all Move enabled, and I can use my little gun controller thing, I said, yeah. So thrilled that I picked that up, and that was like a whopping $8. I also picked up, I got this from my buddy Nintendo. He was talking about it on Facebook for the longest time that he had gotten this massive haul. Like he bought a part of a guy's collection. And he's like, I got stuff for like every console out there. And he ended up putting a lot of it up for sale because he either didn't want it or he already had it or whatever. And one of the games that I wanted, I've been trying to get this for the longest time, but the price has just steadily jumped up and up and up. And then now it's like really expensive. I got a decent deal through Joel, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. It's a Persona 4 one-on-one fighting game. But this is like the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo version. It has more characters and more story and whatnot. So, yeah, I had the original Arena for the 360. I hate playing fighting games on the 360. I hate it. I hate that controller for fighting games. I do not like the D-pad for fighting games. So I'd always buy them on the PlayStation 3. So every fighting game I have, if it's only available on the 360, I'll buy it there. But if it's available on the PlayStation 3, it's always the PlayStation 3 version I'll buy. And I keep on seeing the 360 version of this out there. And I'm like, no. So when he said that he had this up for sale, I jumped on it while I could before someone else snatched it out from under me. And I finally got it. Got this when I was out with Captain Algebra. It's an import. And I found it at a local store. And then, I don't know if you guys know Ben Padden. He used to do a channel called Port Center. I used to watch his stuff all the time. It was all about ports from the computer games to the console games and what the changes were and all that. He's a huge Doctor Who fan. I follow him on Facebook and on Instagram. And he saw the picture of my collection or with the games that I bought that week. He saw the picture with this one in it, and he commented on it. It's Doctor Who, The Eternity Clock. It's like a first-person adventure game. that takes place during the Matt Smith years of Doctor Who, the ones that I did not like. That's when I stopped watching Doctor Who, was when Matt Smith took over, because I thought he was like Crispin Glover Doctor Who. No. I don't need him like showing somebody my potato chip collection and all that. And then let's go in the TARDIS and I'll show you it. Ben was great. Yeah, I love Ben Patton and stuff. I still watch his streams on Twitch every once in a while. He's still funny. He commented on this and he's just kind of like, wow, that's a pretty uncommon game and an import. Where did you find that? And I was like, oh, I got it at a local store. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, in the middle of Chicago, I found an import Doctor Who game that I never knew existed. He's like, oh, by the way, the game's kind of decent. I'm like, all right, at least there's that. And the last one is like another kind of a holy grail that I've been trying to get. I've been wanting to buy this for the longest freaking time. The only thing is it's really expensive, and I've had it in my wish list on Amazon forever, like since I started collecting in 2013. And it's just the price has been steadily rising. And finally, I found someone who was selling it for not as expensive as everyone else was, but it was still kind of pricey. But I had, the stimmy, so might as well. I picked up the Dungeons & Dragons PlayStation 3 collection. This has Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara arcade beat-em-up RPGs on them. And I have the Saturn collection that has both of those on it from Japan. I can play one of them. I can't play the other one because the second one requires like a meg, one of the expansion carts, the 8 meg cart or whatever. And I already have a cartridge in there that lets me play the import games. And I can't play it without swapping out the cart. Otherwise, I can't play the game. So I kind of stuck. This is the only way I can. Since the PlayStation 3 is region free, why not? But yeah, I can't wait to play those. I'm going to invite some friends over once I know that they're vaxxed. And we're going to play the shit out of it. And what are we going to play that game on? How about my new PlayStation 3 Slim? So a little bit of a story with that was I have the fat PlayStation 3. You know what? You want to see it? It's right there. So when I was unemployed in 2011, the PlayStation 3 was like my entertainment hub. I didn't have the smart TVs weren't a thing yet. I had my Netflix on it. It had Hulu on it. It was the only way I could watch those apps or use those apps was through the PlayStation 3. It was also my primary Blu-ray player, and then it broke while I was unemployed. It was the only thing that was keeping me sane, while I was unemployed. I need to take another drink. My throat's going crazy. And then naturally, my luck, it broke like 2 months into my unemployment, and I had to pay to get it replaced. So the one that I had was like the 60 gigabyte model, fat. I had put in Resistance 2 to play it because I just beaten Resistance 1. I put in Resistance 2 and the whole system just bricked. So I had to send it back. What they ended up doing was just sending me a brand new PlayStation 3 fat, the OG one. They sent me a brand new one. So none of my saves, none of my trophies, none of my, downloads were on it. And they gave me the 30 gigabyte model and not the 60. And I complained to them and I'm like, excuse me, I can't keep all of the, installs from the games that I own on physical, with the updates and all that. I can't have all of that on there and the downloadable games that I've already purchased. I can't have all of it on this anymore because now it's like half the size of the hard drive. And they're like, sorry. So we've had that, there was that thing going on where they were talking about, Sony was talking about closing down the PlayStation 3 store and everyone was scrambling to get all the games that were there before, it went belly up, before they canceled it. And I was like, there's all these games on the digital store, on the PlayStation store that I had bought over the years that I can't install on my current PlayStation 3 because there's no room for it. And I want those games. So what do? I went and bought a PlayStation Slim that has the 360 gigabyte hard drive in there. And what happens then? I buy it and I'm like, okay, cool. Hopefully by the time it shows up, they won't have shut the store down. No, I buy it, and the next day they announce that they're not going to shut the store down. Son of a bitch. Just play through D&D Tower of Mystara, the Red Dragon. Yeah, the D&D games are awesome. I played through Tower of Doom with, what is it, the first one? Damn it, where'd you go? It's right here. Yeah, Tower of Doom. I played through Tower of Doom on the Saturn with my friend. We beat it in co-op. It's awesome, but the load times on the Saturn are like atrocious. Like every time a new screen loads, you're like, I could take a nap. Oh, we're playing now. So I was kind of pissed, but now I can get all of my digital content back. And I went through my list of all the stuff I've bought over the years, and holy crap, that I spent a lot of money in that store before I realized I hated downloadable content in digital games. But I'm slowly putting them all back on here. And it's great. It took a while to transfer everything over from my FAT to this one. It wasn't as easy as the internet videos or the YouTube videos I was watching about it claimed, but I got it done. It took like all night. It sucked, but I finally got it. I got a new one. It's quiet. It does not sound like a freaking jet engine taking off in my living room whenever I boot it up, which is amazing. So now let's get into the modern stuff. We're going to go with some PlayStation 4 games. So I had this for the Switch, but I never opened it. And then they released like this special edition, like the complete edition with all the excess content on it. I was like, I'll just sell that one. So I picked up Dead Cells, the Action Game of the Year edition, and it has Rise of the Giant DLC, keyring, new art booklet, reversible cover. So it has all the DLC stuff in it. And it's a side-scrolling platformer that I thought looked pretty awesome. I was watching a bunch of people streaming it when it first came out, and I just never got around to playing it. So I figured I'd just get this instead and get rid of my Switch one. Because I think that's a game I'd rather play on my PS4 than my Switch. Yeah, they're going to still shut it down. It's just they're postponing it. But now, because I'm getting all these freaking PSP games, I got to do what I was talking about doing on my PlayStation 3 with my PSP before that shit shuts down. Because if there's any updates for these games, I'm going to be screwed. I also picked up Blair Witch when I was out with Captain Algebra, and it's a first-person horror walking simulator. And I like the first Blair Witch movie. I like it a lot. And I thought it was supposed to be a VR game at first, but I guess it isn't, which kind of sucks. But Jason from Corpse Flight Gaming said it's pretty fun. It's pretty decent. So I got it for a few bucks. I was not complaining. And while I was out with Cap, I also picked up Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. It's another throwback to collectathon games on the N64. It's supposed to be like Banjo-Kazooie. This one I think is more of a side-scrolling action game instead of like a 3D one. But I think it still has 3D elements to it. But whatever. I still haven't played the original Ukulele. Why did I buy the sequel? Because I'm dumb. This showed up at the same time as that Red Dwarf box set that I was talking about when I was talking about the movies and the TV shows. This showed up 5 minutes before my stream started tonight. And that is R-Type Final 2, the inaugural Flight Edition. I love R-Type. I love it. It's probably my favorite shmup franchise. But when R-Type Final came out on the PlayStation 2, I thought I was kind of over at that point. I think there was one more game that came out in the series on the PlayStation Portable on the PSP in Japan. But, well, it's kind of like Resident Evil, the final chapter. You know there's going to be another one. So they released part 2, obviously. And like I said, just showed up 5 minutes before the stream started tonight. And holy crap, does this look amazing. Doesn't really show a whole lot, but man, I can't wait to see what a PlayStation 4 era or R-Type game looks like. What does it come with, though? Includes R-Type Final 2, an official soundtrack, an art book, and then, well, how about I just open it? Let's do a little unboxing, shall we? Too bad my knife ain't here. Shit. Am I going to have to use my teethy teeth? Now. This is turning out to be one of my longer streams, guys, when it comes to a pickup video. Holy crap. But my scissors are here. Thank you. You can tell I stole these scissors from my mom. These are her crafting scissors. Open up, damn you! I'm trying not to bend the box. Oh. There you go. It did get a little banged up in transport. I hate Amazon, man. Sometimes they frickin' suck. Okay, so it comes with an interior slip. It's like a slip on the outside, so it's kind of like a collector's edition thing. I got the interior box with some pretty cool artwork on it. instantly recognizable as R-Type. So you got the game here. Got your little art book. Sweet. And a soundtrack, which is already open, so... Oh, no, it's got a little tape around it. Okay. Definitely going to have to listen to this because I love the music in the R-Type game. So I'm super thrilled about this. Love me a good shmup, especially on the modern systems. Oh, man. I have so many... For somebody who hated shmups back in the day, like my PlayStation 4, I have a ton of them. Woo! So now we got the PlayStation VR-ness. So I got this when I was out with Cap, I think. Down the Rabbit Hole. It's supposed to be Alice in Wonderland in VR. So it's like a third-person action-y game. So it sounded kind of interesting, so why not? Can't wait to try that one out. This one showed up yesterday, and I got this on Amazon through a guy in Europe. So it's called Jupitergrad, and it's a first-person... The way it's described is weird. Grappling hooks, wacky humor, spatial stunts, all in one crazy VR game. Jupitergrad is a plunger-driven cosmonaut game where you can swing through a space station in style. And the graphics look very basic, but it looks like a first-person action puzzle game. Whoop whoop, Tim, how's it going? It's been a while. Happy Friday to you too, sir. And yes, Joel. Joel is awesome. I hope you're doing okay, Joel. I hope your voice is healing. I was watching a little bit of your guitar stream yesterday, by the way. And you were doing that. I can't talk. I was like, oh, I feel so bad for that guy. I picked up these two 2-packs from England as well. These are from Perp. Well, no, one of them is from Perp. One of them is not. This is from the Surreal Worlds of Charm games. It's Form and Twilight Path on the PSVR. And I know nothing about either of them, but I got it dirt cheap on Amazon. It's almost like they were clearancing this out. Form, it says, is an award-winning adventure with some of the most engaging and thought-provoking challenges in gaming, I'm sure. And Twilight Path is a virtual reality fantasy puzzle adventure set in a surreal realm between the real world and the afterlife. Ooh, that sounds interesting as F. Cool. Can't wait to try that out. I just need to spend a weekend playing my VR, my PSVR. I haven't played it in so long. That's cool, Tim. No big. Glad to see you. And then I got this other one. This is the Servios VR Power Pack. And the games are Raw Data and Sprint Vector. And let's see. Features two of the most groundbreaking I can't talk. Goddamn. Two of the most groundbreaking VR games ever released, I'm sure. In Raw Data, become the adrenaline-charged hero of your own futuristic shooter as you put your wits and endurance to the test. In Spirit Vector, run, jump, and climb and fly across interdimensional race courses and challenge maps. Oh, so that's like an auto runner in VR. That should be fun. And Raw Data looks like a first-person shooter. Cool. I'm all for it. As long as they control well, I'm cool. Oh, I'm totally still on the PSVR train. You can use it on your PlayStation 5 if you have that adapter that you get for free from Sony. As long as you have your serial number from that box that you plug everything into for your PSVR, you can get a free adapter for your PS5. And from what it sounds like, you're going to be able to play all these on your PS5 when the PSVR 2 comes out. So either wait for that if you have a 5, or if you're not planning on doing that, just get the PSVR for the 4. I think it's still great. I love it. And the last VR game I got from Limited Run, of all places. Oh, no, not Limited Run. I got this from GameStop. Shit. I'm stupid. The one that I got from Limited Run is still coming. I got Doom 3 VR edition from GameStop. It was like a GameStop exclusive, if I remember correctly. Doom 3 is probably the Doom game I've played the least, but what a way to play it, if not in VR. So I cannot wait to try this one out. Everyone was talking about it, and it was dirt cheap, too. You can get this brand new for $20 from GameStop. So, hell yeah. And we got a couple of Switch games. Woo. Okay, so the one everybody was talking about, like, it's going out of print, it's going out of print, it's going to be so hard to find. Oh my God, people are selling them online for $125. Why? When you can just go to the Best Buy like I did and they have 500 copies still sitting in the cage. Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Don't believe that it's out of print. It is not. Every store that I've been to has stacks of these games available, so don't pay scalper prices when you don't have to, because it's all a lie. Not a big fan of 2 of the 3 games on this compilation. I'm not a fan of Mario 64. Definitely don't like Super Mario Sunshine. I do like Galaxy a lot. It's fun. But I also said to myself, part of the reason why I didn't like Mario 64 is because I hate the controller for the Nintendo 64. So take that out of the equation. Maybe I'll like it if I can play it with the Switch controller. So I bought it because of curiosity to see if I actually might like the game with a different controller scheme. So there's that. But also, playing Mario Galaxy on the go doesn't sound like a bad time. What's funny? Oh, is it the Mario 64? And then the one, every one of my friends, especially like Jason of Corpse Flood Gaming and Josh from, Church from the Game Grinder. I think Church had beaten this already, and Jason had just gotten it. We're talking Hades on the Switch, which is a roguelike dungeon crawler. And since I love me a dungeon crawler, how easy it is to find is funny. I know, right? Like, everyone was freaking out. I looked on eBay, and sure enough, people are selling it for $125. Like, oh my God, you're never going to be able to buy a copy of this. You're never going to find it in the wild ever. It's sold out everywhere. No, it's not. Like I said, I went to my local Best Buy, not even with the intention of buying this. And I just happened to look in the cage, hoping they would have a magical PlayStation 5 in there. And I was like, why do you have 500 copies of 3D All-Stars? Like, did you really need to buy that many copies? Did you really think there was going to be a run for that? I'm like, I'll get one while I'm here. But yeah, Hades sounds like a ton of fun, but like roguelike, so if you die, you go back to the beginning for what it sounds like, so why not? But it's you're fighting through hell. Trying to get out. Yeah, that sounds awesome to me. And the last game I'm going to talk about tonight in this long-ass freaking stream, it's the only game from Limited Run, even though it's not really a limited release. They just kind of released it for another company. But it's another PlayStation 5 game. I don't own a PlayStation 5 yet, but I'm getting a library for it because stupidity and, okay, at least I'll have something to play once I get the damn thing, maybe over the summer. But they released an enhanced, and I can't talk right now, sorry. An enhanced version of Terminator Resistance. I had this for the Xbox One, and I played through maybe 2.5 hours of it, and I liked it. It's interesting. It's a first-person shooter. It does feel very PlayStation 3. It feels like it's on the. It's on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. Yet it feels like an Xbox 360 / PlayStation 3 era first-person shooter. Makes me think that they didn't have a whole lot of a budget to make it. But it doesn't look great on those consoles. It doesn't, like, the gameplay isn't the greatest either. It's fun, don't get me wrong. It's just it could be better. They make up for it with ambiance and making you feel like you're in the Terminator world. It takes place in the post-apocalyptic future of the Terminator movies. And you have like relationship simulator stuff on top of the shoot, bang, bang stuff. You like find a group of survivors and you get in with them and you have to go and do missions for them and bang one of them randomly. I am not kidding. Sexy sex time in this game. So the prospect of an enhanced version, hopefully it looks graphically awesome like I thought it should have. The back does make it look a lot better. Sounded good to me. So I was like, I'll get rid of my Xbox One version and I'll have a new game to play on my PS5 when I finally do get one. So awesome. And that is it. And I'm glad that is it because I am going to be so hoarse tomorrow. Tomorrow, a couple of my friends are having a May the 4th be with you party. So I'm probably going to be the guy over there just sitting in the corner going, yep. Star Wars. So thank you everybody for coming and listening to me talk about all this extra crap that I don't really need, but kind of need at the same time. Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff to play and watch, and I'm going to go and watch some of these Red Dwarf episodes right now and see how that looks in High def. High def. Wow, my brain is just shutting off right now. So if you haven't checked out my newest video, the one that was like more than a year in the making on my channel, go and check it out. The Movies That Would Make Great Video Games Part 5, the final chapter, 20 other content creators in that video. I went out with a bang, and it took over a year to make that video. Just trying to get people to participate and not flake on me was like the big thing that kept it going. And then I didn't want to work on it for a while because I was kind of pissed off. And then finally I said, you know what? These people I've been sitting on videos from people for well over a year. Get this goddamn thing out, Chris. And I busted my ass to get it done. And I premiered it last week and people seem to like it. So yay. So go check that out. I do have a couple more videos I'm going to be working on in the near future. One of them is a new Diamonds in the Rough. I do have a review that I have filmed and a few other things that I want to do also. I might still do collaborations in the future that is not going to be on the scale that I normally do. It might be one other person. So yeah, a one-on-one collaboration instead of like as many people as I can possibly gather together, because those are a pain in the butt. But I'm glad that the last one came out as great as it did. So once again, thanks everybody for coming to hang out with me and chit chat. Stay safe out there. Have a good night and a great Friday, and I will talk to everybody soon. Chris, the old ass retro gamer, out.